He was terrified for his children, who would be unable to live normal, happy lives. Characteristically, Albert was unable to express his feelings. In a letter to his brother, Albert took an assuring tone, stating that he knew that whatever Edward would decide to do would be in the best interests of his country and empire. Revealingly, Elizabeth also wrote to the king, pleading with her brother-in-law, "Darling David, you have no idea how hard it has been for Albert lately. I know he is fonder of you than anybody else. I am terrified for him. So do help him, and for God's sake, don't tell him I have written." Despite the royal family's desperate pleas for Edward to see reason and save Albert and Elizabeth, Edward VIII chose the woman he loved and abdicated. Albert was to become king. Close to a complete nervous breakdown, he burst into hysterical tears on the shoulder of his stone-faced mother, Mary. Elizabeth was heard to remark, "I feel like the proverbial sheep being led to the slaughter." As always, when the royal family runs into trouble, the future of the monarchy, whether Britain needs kings at all, begins to be questioned. The challenge for the new king, his wife and children was immense: to save the monarchy.
The day and the hour, and almost king's weather for the great occasion. The reign of the previous day.
King George VI's coronation took place on the 12th of May 1937. It was a propaganda set piece. Although the country was in the depth of economic depression, no expense was spared to save the monarchy and erase Edward VIII from memory. Queen Mary's dress alone was laden in gems worth $2 million in 1936 prices. The aim was the creation of a theatrical fairy tale fantasy. Public opinion was such that the new king abandoned his own name to reign as King George VI. King Albert simply sounded too German. Many, including Albert, feared he was simply not up to being king. City traders were placing bets that the king would not even finish the ceremony. Ordinarily, the king's speeches were written for his disability, with difficult words avoided. The coronation required oaths swearing in ancient, unchangeable language. The new king repeatedly practiced his signature, fearing he might sign himself Albert, not George R.I. The BBC asked to broadcast the coronation live on primetime television. The Archbishop of Canterbury refused, saying it would be sacrilege, as the broadcast might be watched in bars. The real reason was that a live broadcast could not be edited to hide the king's twitches, convulsions, and stammer. The ceremony did not go entirely smoothly. Words of the speeches, carefully structured by the king's speech therapist, were covered over by fingers of officials holding prompt cards. A marker used to make sure the crown was placed the right way round had been removed. The Archbishop of Canterbury was so unwell that a doctor stood by with a hidden syringe of amphetamine to make sure the primate finished the ceremony. George VI was deeply affected by the coronation's religious meaning, the consecration and the dedication before God of an ordinary human. It is a measure of the courage, the guts his father noted, that the new king got through it successfully.